So how big a deal is this helicopter agreement? Well, to answer that, joining me now is Igor Khokhlov. He's a political expert from the Institute of World Economy and International Relations here in Moscow. Igor, why buy Russian and not American?
Actually, there's a number of reasons, but first of all, that's the quality of Russian military gear. Those helicopters, Mi-17s, NATO calls them HIP, were developed by the request of the Soviet military during the Soviet-Afghan war, and they perfectly fit the Afghan battlefield.
Now, you've just said, of course, that these were used by the Soviet army. How is that going to help the Afghan troops in Afghanistan?
Actually, those helicopters have proven to be very effective in mountainous terrain, and armies all over the world are using those helicopters. Two Russian factories producing those helicopters have very good sales all over the world, and most of the world armies, especially those who have to fight in mountainous terrain very similar to the Afghan one, use those helicopters, and the feedbacks are very good. So that's one of the main reasons. The quality of the Russian military equipment is pretty easy to use, and lots of Afghan pilots are already familiar with this kind of hardware.
All right, and Russia, of course, is linking the agreement to the issue of direct sales of its weapons to NATO countries. Will this deal open new opportunities for Russia?
Basically, yes, and I guess as any business, Russian arms industry looks for new markets. A Russian weapon has proven to be very effective, and you know Russia is one of the major weapon sellers all over the world due to the quality and reliability of Russian military gear. So, of course, getting into new markets always makes sense.
Now, of course, over the past years, Russia has had it's been wary about NATO expansion. Does this mean ties are really strengthening between NATO and Russia?
Yes, NATO countries and Russia share common goals, they share common interests, and they face the same security threats. And, of course, we have to develop cooperation, especially if we face extremists, if we have to fight terrorism, because it's a major security challenge for both European countries, for Russia, and for the United States.
And this, of course, is the first time that Russia and the U.S. are joining in to work with a third country, to sell weapons to a third country. Is that a new step in U.S.-Russia relations? Actually,
I could say that Russia and NATO have been working together over Afghanistan issues. Russian aircraft company, Volga-Dnepr, offered NATO its services, and Russian cargo planes, Antonov 124, which are the largest cargo planes in the world, were used to transport troops and military hardware for European forces in Afghanistan. So there have been a long partnership between NATO and Russian companies. So I think it's going to continue.
Igor Khokhlov, political expert, thank you very much for your time.